Senator Durbin.
Thank you much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Blanche, I have a few questions I'd like to ask you. Is it not true that Congress had to pass a law requiring the Trump administration to disclose the Epstein files? The Epstein Files Transparency Act passed by bipartisan roll calls in the House and Senate to finally get the files made public?
President Trump signed that law.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course he did. After overwhelming numbers of the House members and Senate members voted for it on a bipartisan basis because the administration would not voluntarily produce these documents. Now, I've mentioned
That's not true.
Well, what part of it isn't true?
We were prohibited by law from producing those documents. This is the Judiciary Committee. There are laws that did not allow us to produce those documents, which we made plain in numerous court filings. So and President Trump had said from day one to release the files, even when he was running.
Yeah.
And so, yes, he signed it into law and we complied with it.
I remember, and everyone in the audience remembers, the links that the administration went through to delay production of these documents to the point where Congress did an extraordinary thing, discharge motion in the House to bring this matter before them and vote on a bipartisan basis to compel your administration to disclose those documents. Let me talk to you for a moment about the survivors who are in the room. There are 10 individuals who were exploited and abused by Mr. Epstein. They are here today. None of them have had a chance to speak to anyone in the department or FBI, though they've asked repeatedly. So can I get your word under oath that within the next 30 days, you will personally sit down with these 10 victims and hear their case in terms of what needs to be done by the Department of Justice?
Chairman, I appreciate them being here today. I also have somebody from my office who's spent her entire career working on cases like Mr. Epstein's. She's in charge of our task force investigating human trafficking. She's available to talk to them.
She can sit right next to you. She can sit right next to you when you meet with these survivors.
I have never said I will not meet with survivors.
Will you meet with these 10 survivors? I'm asking you on the record.
If they have lawyers, as you know, I'm prohibited from meeting directly with them. I have met with counsel for survivors, as has many people in the Department of Justice, over 30. But if they are represented by counsel, we will work with their counsel. If they don't have a lawyer, I will certainly make arrangements to make sure the right people at the Department of Justice meet with them. Absolutely.
Will you get it done within the next 30 days that each
I
of
will
these
get it done
survivors?
today, if that's necessary. I mean, my point is there's somebody here who can meet with them today, get their information, and arrange to meet with them.
I think you ought to be in the room.
Pardon me?
I think you ought to be in the room because you ought to hear this. You had singular responsibility for these files. There was a delay in meeting the statutory requirement of disclosure. You were involved in that. I think you ought to be part of this.
I am definitely part of it, and I have been from day one.
And it will be done within the next 30 days?
I can keep on repeating myself, but I said it could get done as soon as today. It could have gotten done last week. We remain available to meet with any victim or their representative at any time.
Will you notify the committee when you've done this?
That would be prohibited by law if they're talking about an ongoing investigation.
I'm asking you if you'll notify the committee that you met with the survivors.
It depends on what they said. I'm not sure I'm allowed to notify you if there's an ongoing investigation.
Well, you're dancing on the head of a pin here.
I'm not dancing on any pin
You
at
have
all.
these survivors who have the courage to come before this committee, have the courage to tell their terrible stories, how they were exploited. Don't you think it's important that we have a prompt response by our government to these survivors?
Absolutely. And there will be a prompt response. My heart breaks for every survivor, every victim of Mr. Epstein. Absolutely. And I would love to prosecute anybody that did any harm to these victims.
Will you meet with them within the next 30 days? The last time I asked a question, you can say yes or no.
I can keep on answering it the same way. I can meet with them. My staff will meet with them. We have a staff member here
today. If you can meet with them, will you meet with them?
I'm not sure what you're looking for me to say. As I said,
yes, if
they're represented by counsel, I'm not allowed to meet with them directly, as you know. I assure you, the FBI, who are experts in this space, prosecutors who are experts in this space, and me, if necessary, will absolutely meet with them. I promise you this.
I think it's
I will
necessary.
stay updated and know everything that's happening with any victim that has information about any other people that work with Epstein, that committed any crimes with Epstein. Absolutely.
Well, if you're truly committed to extraordinary transparency, and you're willing to meet with these victims, I hope you will do it immediately, or we're going to hold you to it. I want to ask you about the immunity provisions that you signed relative to the responsibility and liability of the president and his family and their businesses when it comes to tax audits. Would you like to explain how we can give to the president and his family and businesses exemptions from complying with the tax laws of the United States?
It's not an exemption to comply with the tax laws of the United States. As part of the settlement, it was an agreement that any past audits would end.
The United States, your signature, the United States releases, waives, acquits, and forever discharges each of the plaintiffs when it comes to tax liability. That's how it reads. It's pretty sweeping. You don't believe that is a discharge forever from liability?
Of any past filings, yes.
All right, it is. How do you explain that to the American people, everyone in this room, all of us on this side? We have to follow the tax laws of the United States. And if we don't, we can be held responsible for it, to the point of even criminal prosecution. Why did you decide that President Trump and his family and their businesses should be exempt from that same responsibility?
As part of the settlement between the IRS and President Trump and some of his family, two of his sons and his organization, as is typical when there's a settlement between plaintiffs and the IRS, part of the settlement included release of any past audits. It does not give any protection to the president, his family, or his organizations for any taxes they file. If they filed it the day of that I signed that agreement, or the day after, they have no protection.
No matter what their liability, no matter what their violation of tax law, you signed a document that forever discharged them from any legal responsibility.
As part of the settlement that we entered into, any past audits were
How often do you think that's been done in the history of the United States?
Involving the President of the United States, I'm not sure it's ever been done, but this type of settlement is done regularly.
So you're saying that when it comes to the President of the United States, his family and businesses have no responsibility under the tax laws for any wrongdoing prior to the signing of this document?
No, I mean, I didn't say that at all. What I'm saying is that I think President Trump and his family are the first president that had their tax returns illegally taken, and made available to the public. So that is unique to President Trump, yes. But this type of settlement is not unique to the Department of Justice or the IRS.
It's hard to explain to the American people that no one is above the law when that type of document was signed by you, forever discharging that family and that president from any liability for violating the tax laws.
Nobody is above the law. And when we enter into settlements like that, we do it with all kinds of people. It's not just President Trump. It doesn't make any of those individuals above the law.
So let me ask you, since you don't believe anyone should be above the law, about the January 6 rioters pardoned. We've taken a look at some of the people that the president pardoned on his first day in office, the ones who attacked this Capitol. And I'll use the word attack because I was here and I saw what happened. Anyone looking at the videos knows what happened on that day. Among those who were pardoned by the president are individuals who've gone on to commit serious crimes against innocent victims across the United States. Do you think that blanket pardon by the president of January 6 rioters was the right thing to do?
I think that the Constitution gives the president the full power to pardon anybody for any reason he wants. And so I don't question President Trump's authority or his decision to do so on January 20th.
You don't question his decision?
As I said, President Trump, under our Constitution, just like President Biden, has the authority to pardon anybody for any federal crime. And that's something that every president, that's a privilege every president's afforded, and including President Biden and President Trump.
Well, I can tell you he may have had the authority to do it, but I think someone should have grabbed him by the arm and said, stop. You can't release all of those rioters. Some of them actually physically assaulted policemen in the Capitol. Some of them were guilty of crimes, serious crimes before that day. And for the president to give a blanket pardon to these individuals is something that I don't think you can explain to the American people. You certainly can't explain it to the policemen who almost lost their lives because of these attackers. I yield, Mr. Chairman.